Good morning, everyone. Let me ask you something. Have you ever listened to English for a long time, but when someone spoke to you in real life, you still felt confused?
Oh, yes, that has happened to me many times. I could understand the lesson, but when I heard people talking naturally, I thought, wait, what did they just say?
You're definitely not alone. Many English learners have the same experience. The good news is that your listening can improve much faster than you think, especially if you practice every morning.
Every morning? Does the time really matter?
It can. Your mind is usually fresh in the morning. Starting your day with English helps your brain get used to hearing the language naturally. It becomes part of your daily routine.
That actually makes sense. It's like drinking coffee every morning. After a while, it just feels normal.
Exactly. And today, we're going to talk about simple morning listening habits that can make a big difference. You don't need expensive courses, you don't need to study grammar for hours. You just need to listen in the right way.
I like that idea already. Sometimes I think people make English learning much more complicated than it needs to be.
I agree. Let's start with a simple question. What do you usually do during the first 30 minutes after you wake up?
Well, I usually check my phone, then I brush my teeth, make some coffee, and maybe look at the news.
That's a very common routine. Now, imagine replacing just 10 or 15 minutes of scrolling with English listening.
Hmm, that doesn't sound difficult. But what should I listen to?
Great question. Choose something that is easy enough to understand. Don't start with fast movies or complicated news reports. Instead, listen to slow conversations, beginner podcasts, or simple stories.
So I shouldn't choose something that's too difficult.
Exactly. Many learners think difficult material helps them improve faster. Actually, it often makes them frustrated.
I've done that before. I tried listening to a movie without subtitles. After 5 minutes, I felt completely lost.
That's a perfect example. When the material is too difficult, your brain spends all its energy trying to catch individual words. You stop enjoying the conversation.
And then you want to quit.
Right. But when you understand most of what you hear, your confidence grows. Little by little, your ears become more familiar with English sounds.
I like the phrase little by little.
It's a useful expression. Little by little means slowly over time. For example, little by little, my English is improving.
Let me try. Little by little, I am becoming more confident.
Perfect. That's exactly how we use it.
Sometimes I worry because my progress feels slow.
That's completely normal. Learning a language isn't a race. Every small practice session is another step forward.
That reminds me of when I started exercising.
Really? Tell me about it.
During the first week, I expected huge changes. Of course, nothing happened. But after a few months, I realized I had much more energy.
That's a wonderful comparison. English works the same way. You may not notice improvement every single day, but after a few weeks, you'll suddenly understand conversations that seemed impossible before.
So, consistency is more important than studying for 5 hours one day and then doing nothing for the rest of the week.
Exactly. Consistency means doing something regularly.
Oh, that's another useful word consistency.
Yes, here's an example. Consistency is the key to learning English.
I like that sentence.
Let's imagine a real life situation. You're getting ready for work or school. While you're making breakfast, you play an English podcast in the background.
Maybe I don't understand every word.
That's okay. Your goal isn't to understand 100%. Your goal is to become comfortable hearing English every day.
I think that's a big change in mindset.
It is. Many learners believe they must understand every single word, but native speakers don't always hear every word perfectly either. They understand the overall message.
That's interesting. I never thought about it that way.
Here's another example. Imagine someone says, I'm running a little late.
At first, I might think they're talking about running, like exercise.
Exactly. But in everyday English, I'm running late means I'm going to arrive later than expected.
Oh, I've heard that expression before.
And the more often you hear it in real conversations, the more natural it becomes.
So, listening helps us learn expressions, not just individual words.
That's one of the biggest benefits. Your brain starts learning groups of words together. That makes listening easier and speaking more natural.
Before we continue, can we practice a few useful sentences?
Of course, listen carefully.
I listen to English every morning.
Now you try.
Little by little, I'm improving.
Your turn.
Your turn. Consistency is the key.
Your turn.
Now you try. I don't need to understand every word.
Say it with me.
I enjoy listening to simple conversations.
Great job. Those are simple sentences, but they're very useful. And speaking of simple conversations, there's another morning habit that many successful English learners use every single day. You know, one habit that many successful English learners have is listening to the same audio more than once.
Really? I always thought I should listen to something new every day.
That's a very common idea, but repeating good material is actually very helpful. The first time you listen, you understand the general idea. The second time, you notice new words. The third time, you begin to recognize expressions and pronunciation more naturally.
So, repeating isn't boring, it's actually part of learning.
Exactly. Think about your favorite song. Have you ever listened to the same song many times?
Oh, definitely. Sometimes I know every word without trying.
That's because your brain learns through repetition. English listening works the same way.
I never compared it to music before.
Here's a simple morning routine. Listen to one short podcast today. Tomorrow morning, listen to the same episode again. On the third day, listen one more time before moving to a new episode.
That sounds much less stressful than trying to find something new every single day.
Exactly. It also helps you build confidence because each time you understand a little more.
I like that feeling. It's encouraging.
Let me ask you something. Have you ever heard a word many times but never learned how to use it?
Yes, I hear actually all the time, but I wasn't sure when to say it.
That's a great example. Actually is often used to correct information or introduce a surprising fact.
Can you give me an example?
Of course, someone asks, "Do you drink coffee every morning?" You answer, "Actually, I prefer tea."
Oh, so it sounds very natural.
Exactly. And when you hear words like actually, probably, usually, and especially again and again, they become part of your own English.
That's much easier than memorizing long vocabulary lists.
I agree. Listening teaches vocabulary in real situations.
Sometimes I pause the audio every few seconds because I'm afraid of missing something.
That's understandable, but if you stop too often, you lose the natural flow of the conversation.
So, what should I do instead?
Listen once without stopping. Just enjoy the conversation. Then, if there's a sentence you really want to understand, go back and listen again.
That sounds much more relaxing.
Exactly. Remember, your goal isn't perfection, your goal is progress.
That's another sentence worth remembering.
It really is. Have you ever met someone who improved their English mainly by listening? Yes, I have. A friend of mine used to walk to work every morning. It took about 25 minutes. Instead of listening to music every day, she listened to simple English conversations
Every morning?
almost every morning. At first, she understood only about 60%. She didn't worry about it. She just kept listening.
What happened after a few months?
She noticed something surprising. One day, she was watching an English movie and realized she didn't need subtitles as often.
Wow, that must have felt amazing.
She was very happy. She told me, "I didn't realize I was improving until one day everything sounded easier."
I think many learners expect to notice improvement every day.
That's true. But improvement is often quiet. It happens slowly, and then suddenly you realize you've come a long way.
That's really encouraging.
Let's do a quick role play.
Sounds good.
Imagine it's 7 o'clock in the morning. You're making breakfast, and I'm your friend.
Okay.
Good morning. What are you listening to?
I'm listening to an English podcast while I make breakfast.
That's a great habit. Do you understand everything?
Not everything, but I understand enough to enjoy it.
Excellent answer. Are you going to listen again tomorrow?
Yes, I want to hear the same episode one more time.
Perfect. That's exactly the kind of conversation you might have someday.
And it didn't feel difficult.
Because the sentences are practical and natural.
Can we practice a few more useful expressions?
Absolutely. Listen carefully. I listen while I make breakfast. Now your turn.
I don't stop the audio too often.
Your turn.
I understand enough to enjoy it.
Say it with me.
I'll listen to this episode again tomorrow.
Your turn.
Little by little, listening becomes easier.
Excellent. Those simple sentences are perfect for daily practice. But listening isn't only about hearing words. There's another important skill that many learners forget, and that's what we'll explore next. Before the break, we talked about listening to the same audio more than once. Now let's look at another skill that's just as important. Instead of trying to catch every word, try listening for the main idea.
I think that's one of my biggest problems. I hear one word I don't know, and then I stop paying attention to everything else.
You're definitely not the only one. Many learners get stuck on one unfamiliar word and miss the next 2 or 3 sentences.
That happens to me all the time. I'm still thinking about the unknown word while the conversation keeps moving.
Exactly. Real conversations don't stop and wait for us. They continue naturally.
So I should just let the unknown word go?
Most of the time, yes. Ask yourself, can I still understand the general message? If the answer is yes, keep listening.
That feels a little scary at first.
It does, but it becomes easier with practice. Let me give you an example.
I'm listening.
Imagine someone says, I overslept this morning, so I had to skip breakfast and rush to work.
Maybe I don't know the word overslept.
That's okay. You still hear this morning, skip breakfast, and rush to work. From those clues, you can guess that something happened late in the morning.
Oh, I see. The other words help me understand the situation.
Exactly. Your brain is very good at finding clues. Trust it a little more.
I like that advice. Instead of worrying about one word, I should focus on the whole picture.
That's right. Think of listening like looking at a painting. If you stare at one tiny corner, you'll miss the beautiful picture.
That's a great comparison.
Here's another everyday example. Let's say your friend says, I'm thinking about taking a short trip this weekend.
Even if I don't know the word trip, I might hear this weekend and understand they're talking about a plan.
Exactly. Context is your best friend.
Context. That's another useful word.
Yes, context means the words and situation around something that help you understand its meaning.
Let me try using it. The context helped me understand the conversation.
Perfect sentence. Sometimes I notice that native speakers speak very quickly. What should I do? First, don't panic. Fast speech sounds difficult because many words connect together naturally.
So they're not really speaking every word separately.
Exactly. For example, what are you doing often sounds more like what you doing.
I remember hearing that. At first, I couldn't recognize it.
That's completely normal. The more you listen, the more familiar these connected sounds become.
So listening every morning trains my ears, not just my vocabulary.
That's a wonderful way to say it. You're training your ears to recognize natural English.
That makes me feel better because sometimes I think my ears just aren't good enough.
Your ears are fine. They simply need more experience with English sounds.
Experience comes with time.
Exactly.
Can I tell you something funny?
Of course.
So one day I heard someone say, see you later, but I thought they said one long word. I couldn't understand anything.
That's actually very common. Beginners often hear entire phrases as one sound
Now I hear it clearly.
because your listening has already improved.
I guess I never noticed that.
Improvement often happens quietly. One day you suddenly realize something that used to be difficult now feels easy.
That's encouraging.
Let's do another short role play.
Okay,
You're listening to an English podcast before work.
sounds good.
How's your listening practice going?
It's getting better. I don't understand every word, but I understand the main idea.
Excellent. What do you do when you hear a new word?
I keep listening instead of stopping the audio.
Great habit. And what do you do after finishing the episode?
I listen again the next morning.
That's exactly the kind of routine that helps learners improve.
It's simple, but it feels realistic.
That's the goal. Small habits are easier to keep than big plans.
Before we move on, can we practice today's key sentences?
Absolutely. Listen carefully.
I focus on the main idea.
Now your turn.
I don't stop because of one new word.
Your turn.
Context helps me understand.
Say it with me.
My listening improves every morning.
Your turn.
I trust the process and keep listening.
Excellent work. You're building habits that will help you understand English more naturally. And speaking of habits, there's one simple morning activity that many learners overlook, even though it can make listening practice much more effective. You know, we've talked about choosing easy audio, listening more than once, and focusing on the main idea. Now, I'd like to share another simple habit that many learners forget:
I'm curious. What is it?
listening without distractions.
That sounds harder than I expected.
It can be. Think about how many things compete for your attention every morning: your phone, social media, messages, emails, and even the television.
You're describing my morning perfectly.
Mine used to look exactly the same. I would start listening to English, but after 1 minute, I'd check a message. Then I'd look at the weather, then I'd answer an email.
So you weren't really listening anymore.
Exactly. My ears heard the English, but my mind was somewhere else.
I know that feeling. Sometimes I finish an entire podcast and suddenly realize I don't remember anything.
That's because listening isn't only about your ears, it's also about your attention.
That's an important point.
Here's a simple idea. Before you press play, put your phone somewhere you can't easily reach.
Even for just 10 minutes?
Yes, 10 focused minutes are often more valuable than 30 distracted minutes.
I like that. It's a small change, but it could make a big difference.
Exactly. Learning English doesn't always require more time. Sometimes it simply requires better attention.
That's something I don't hear very often.
Let me tell you a short story.
I'd love to hear it.
A student once told me she listened to English every morning for almost 6 months, but she didn't feel much improvement.
6 months is a long time.
It is. So I asked her one question: what are you doing while you're listening?
What did she say?
She laughed and said, well, I'm checking social media, replying to messages, reading the news, and making breakfast.
That's a lot at the same time.
Exactly. I suggested something very simple. Spend the first 5 minutes doing nothing except listening.
Only 5 minutes?
Only 5. After 2 weeks, she came back and said, I understand much more now.
Amazing. The audio didn't change, her attention changed.
That's exactly right.
I think many of us believe multitasking saves time.
Sometimes it does, but when you're learning a language, giving your full attention usually works much better.
That's good advice.
Here's another useful expression: pay attention.
I hear that expression often.
It means to focus carefully on something.
Can you give me an example?
Sure, pay attention to how the speaker says the words.
Let me try. I pay attention to new expressions.
Perfect. What else should we pay attention to besides vocabulary?
Great question. Listen to the speaker's rhythm. Notice where they pause. Listen to how their voice goes up when asking a question and comes down when making a statement.
So I'm learning pronunciation without studying pronunciation directly.
Exactly. You're learning naturally through listening.
That's one reason I enjoy podcasts. They sound like real conversations.
And real conversations teach much more than individual words. They teach timing, emotion, and natural expressions.
Sometimes I repeat interesting sentences out loud after I hear them,
That's an excellent habit,
even if my pronunciation isn't perfect.
especially then. The more you speak, the more comfortable your mouth becomes with English sounds.
I never thought about training my mouth.
Just like athletes train their muscles, English learners train their ears and their speech.
That's a helpful comparison. Let's imagine another real-life situation.
Okay,
You're sitting by the window with a cup of coffee, the house is quiet, you play a 10-minute English podcast.
I leave my phone on the table across the room.
Great idea.
I listen carefully instead of worrying about every word.
Excellent.
When the episode finishes, I think about the main idea instead of trying to remember every sentence.
Perfect. That's exactly how effective listening works.
It actually sounds relaxing.
Learning English should feel enjoyable, not stressful.
I think that's easy to forget.
Before we continue, let's practice a few useful sentences.
Ready.
Listen carefully.
I pay attention to the conversation.
Now your turn.
I put my phone away while listening.
Your turn.
I focus on the speaker's voice.
Say it with me.
10 focused minutes can make a difference.
One more.
I enjoy learning English every morning.
Wonderful. Those sentences are easy to remember because they're connected to real life. And there's another morning habit that many successful learners use after they finish listening, and it helps the language stay in their memory much longer. We've talked about what to do before listening and while listening. Now let's talk about something you can do after you finish.
I usually just stop the audio and move on with my day.
And that's perfectly normal. But spending just 2 or 3 extra minutes can help you remember much more.
Really? What should I do?
Ask yourself 3 simple questions. First, what was the main topic? Second, what new expression did I hear? Third, what sentence do I want to remember?
That sounds easy enough.
It is. Let's imagine you listened to a conversation about morning routines.
Okay.
After the episode, you might say, the main topic was healthy morning habits.
Then I could say, the new expression I learned was get into the habit of.
Excellent. Do you know what that expression means?
I think it means to start doing something regularly.
Exactly. If you get into the habit of listening every morning, it becomes a natural part of your life.
Let me make a sentence. I'm getting into the habit of listening to English every night.
That's perfect. What's the third question again?
Choose one useful sentence you want to remember. Something like, consistency is more important than perfection.
That's a wonderful sentence. Short, practical, and easy to use.
I think remembering one sentence feels much easier than trying to remember 20 new words.
I completely agree. Our brains remember meaningful sentences much better than random vocabulary lists.
That explains why I still remember lines from my favorite movies.
Exactly. They were connected to a story and an emotion.
So emotions help us remember.
They certainly do. That's why stories are so powerful for language learning.
Can I share something that happened to me last month?
Of course.
I was watching a simple English video while eating breakfast. The speaker kept saying, take your time.
That's a very common expression.
At first, I didn't really notice it, but after hearing it several times, I started using it with my friends.
That's exactly how language becomes natural. You hear it enough times, understand it in context, and then one day you use it without thinking.
By the way, what does take your time really mean?
It means don't hurry. For example, if your friend is choosing food at a restaurant, you can say, take your time.
Oh, that's useful.
Very useful. Native speakers say it often.
I think listening helps us discover expressions that textbooks don't always teach.
That's true. Real conversations are full of natural English.
Sometimes I worry because I forget new words after a few days.
That's completely normal. Forgetting is part of learning.
Really?
Yes, the important thing is seeing and hearing the same words again later. Every time you meet the word again, it becomes stronger in your memory.
So forgetting doesn't mean I'm failing.
Not at all. It means your brain needs another reminder.
That's actually comforting.
Let me give you another example. Imagine you hear the word instead today.
Okay.
Tomorrow you hear it again in another podcast. Then you read it in an article. A few days later, you naturally say, I stayed home instead of going out.
So repetition happens in different places.
Exactly. That's one reason daily listening is so valuable.
Let's do another role play.
Great idea. Imagine we just finished listening to today's podcast.
Okay.
What was today's main topic?
How to improve my English listening every morning.
Excellent. What's one new expression you learned?
Get into the habit of.
Very good. Can you use it in a sentence?
I'm getting into the habit of listening to English before work.
Perfect. And what's one sentence you'll remember?
Progress is more important than perfection.
I love that answer.
It feels like a simple review, but it helps me remember the lesson.
Exactly. Just 2 or 3 minutes can make a big difference.
Before we continue, let's practice today's key expressions.
Listen carefully.
I'm getting into the habit of listening every morning.
Now your turn.
Take your time.
Your turn.
I remember one useful sentence every day.
Say it with me.
Repetition helps me learn naturally.
One last sentence.
I review what I learned after listening.
Excellent. Those small review habits don't take much time, but they make your listening practice much more effective. And speaking of effective habits, there's one final morning routine that can help turn listening into confident speaking, and that's what we'll explore next. So far, we've talked about choosing the right audio, listening more than once, paying attention, and reviewing what you've learned. Now let's connect listening with speaking.
I was hoping we'd talk about that. Sometimes I understand English, but when I try to speak, nothing comes out.
That's one of the most common problems English learners face.
Why does it happen?
Because listening and speaking are connected, but they're not exactly the same skill. Listening gives your brain examples. Speaking gives you practice using those examples.
So if I only listen, my speaking might improve slowly.
Exactly. That's why after your morning listening session, I recommend speaking for just 1 or 2 minutes.
Only 1 or 2 minutes?
Yes, it doesn't have to be a long speech. You can simply talk about what you just heard.
That sounds much easier than trying to give a 5-minute presentation.
Definitely. Let's imagine you listened to a podcast about healthy habits.
Okay,
After the episode, you could say something like, "Today I learned that small habits can make a big difference. I want to listen to English every morning."
that's simple, but it helps me use the new ideas.
Exactly. You're turning active listening into active English.
I like that phrase, active English.
Me too. The more actively you use English, the more confident you become.
Sometimes I feel a little embarrassed talking to myself.
Many learners feel that way at first.
Did you ever talk to yourself while learning another language?
Yes, I did. I practiced while walking, cooking, and even washing dishes.
Really?
Absolutely. Nobody was listening, so I didn't worry about making mistakes.
That's actually a good point. We often worry too much about sounding perfect.
Exactly. But remember, mistakes are part of learning.
I think people sometimes wait until they feel ready.
That's true, but confidence usually comes after practice, not before it.
I should remember that.
Here's another useful expression: give it a try.
What does that mean?
It simply means try it.
So, if I'm nervous about speaking English, my friend could say, give it a try.
Exactly.
Let me use it. I've never done shadowing before, but I'll give it a try.
Perfect. Speaking of shadowing, is it a good morning activity? It's one of the best. Shadowing means listening to a sentence and repeating it as naturally as possible.
Not word for word, but with the same rhythm and pronunciation.
Exactly. You're copying the speaker's natural way of speaking.
That sounds challenging, but also fun.
Start with short sentences. You don't need long paragraphs.
Can we practice together?
Of course, listen carefully.
I listen to English every morning.
Now you try.
Small habits make a big difference.
Your turn.
I learn something new every day.
Say it with me.
I'll give it a try.
Here's another one.
Listening helps me speak more naturally.
Excellent.
Those sentences are short enough that I can remember them.
That's exactly why they're useful.
Let me tell you about something that happened last week.
Go ahead.
I was ordering coffee, and for the first time, I answered in English without translating in my head.
That's fantastic.
It wasn't a long conversation, but it felt natural.
Moments like that show your progress.
I think all the listening practice helped.
I'm sure it did. Your brain had already heard those expressions many times, so they came out naturally.
It happened almost without thinking.
Exactly. That's the goal. We want English to feel familiar, not something you have to translate all the time.
I guess that's why daily listening matters so much.
Yes, every morning you're adding another small piece to the puzzle.
And eventually, the whole picture becomes clear.
Beautifully said. Before we finish this section, can we practice a few more useful sentences? Absolutely. Listen carefully.
I speak for 1 minute after listening.
Now you try.
I don't worry about small mistakes.
Your turn.
I'll give it a try.
Say it with me.
Listening and speaking work together.
One last sentence.
Every morning, I become a more confident English speaker.
Wonderful. Those simple daily habits can completely change the way you learn English. And before we finish today's episode, let's put everything together into one easy morning routine that anyone can start tomorrow. We've covered a lot today, so let's bring everything together into one simple morning routine that almost anyone can follow.
I like the sound of that. Sometimes having a clear plan makes it much easier to stay consistent.
I agree. Let's imagine tomorrow morning. Your alarm goes off, you get out of bed, wash your face, and make your favorite drink.
For me, that's definitely a cup of coffee.
Perfect. While you're drinking your coffee, choose one English podcast or conversation that's around 10 to 15 minutes long.
And I should choose something that's at my level, not something that's too difficult.
Exactly. If you understand most of it, you'll enjoy listening and stay motivated.
Then I listen without checking my phone.
Right. Give the conversation your full attention. Don't worry if you miss a few words. Focus on understanding the main idea.
After that, I ask myself the 3 review questions.
That's right. What was the main topic? What new expression did I hear? What's one sentence I want to remember?
Then I speak for 1 or 2 minutes about what I learned.
Exactly. That's your complete morning routine. It doesn't require special equipment. It doesn't require hours of study. It simply requires consistency.
When you explain it like that, it feels very achievable.
That's because it is. Many learners fail because they create routines that are too difficult to follow.
Like deciding to study 3 hours every morning.
Exactly. That might work for a day or two, but it's difficult to continue for months.
A short routine is much easier to keep.
And small daily actions create big results over time.
That reminds me of planting a tree.
Interesting. Tell me more.
You don't plant a tree today and expect it to be huge tomorrow. You water it a little every day. After months and years, it grows naturally.
I love that example. Your English grows the same way. Every morning you give it a little attention, and over time it becomes stronger.
Sometimes learners compare themselves with others.
That's another common mistake.
I see someone speaking fluent English and I think, why can't I speak like that?
The truth is, you usually don't see all the practice behind their success. Maybe they've been listening every day for years.
That's a good reminder.
Instead of comparing yourself with someone else, ask yourself simple questions. Can I understand more than before? Am I more confident? Do English conversations feel a little easier?
Even small improvements count.
Absolutely. Every new expression you understand is progress. Every sentence you speak with confidence is progress.
Before we finish, can we review some of today's most useful expressions?
Of course, listen carefully.
Little by little.
Now your turn.
Pay attention.
Your turn.
Get into the habit of.
Say it with me.
Take your time.
Here's another one.
Give it a try.
Your turn.
Focus on the main idea.
One more.
Consistency is the key.
Excellent. Those are expressions you'll hear in real conversations again and again.
And now I know how to use them naturally.
That's exactly what today's episode was all about. Learning English doesn't have to be complicated. You don't need to memorize hundreds of words every week. You don't need to spend all day studying grammar.
You just need a routine that you can actually follow.
Right. Listen every morning. Stay focused. Don't worry about understanding every word. Review 1 or 2 useful ideas, speak for a minute, and then repeat the process tomorrow.
Day by day, your ears become stronger, your vocabulary grows, and your confidence increases.
And one morning, you'll notice something amazing. You'll be listening to English and realize that you're understanding much more than you did a few months ago.
That's a wonderful feeling.
It really is. Remember, fluency isn't built in one day, it's built one morning at a time.
That's a perfect message to end with.
We hope today's conversation gave you practical ideas that you can start using tomorrow morning. Keep listening, keep practicing, and most importantly, keep enjoying the process.
Thank you for spending part of your morning with us. We hope you'll make English a small but meaningful part of your daily routine.
Take care, have a wonderful day, and remember, every morning is a new opportunity to improve your English, one conversation at a time.